Yeah, these are definitely too soft for a metal machine. 8.28. Problem solved. I know, I'll hold it the right way, but it looks like a peepee. The designer or the Explorer shape. This video almost didn't happen. Don't be fooled by the V sounding a bit thicker. I've just increased the gain on the amp because the ProBucker 2 and 3 sound a little bit too classic for my taste. I shouldn't really complain about the pickups being too soft because there's a good reason for that. The Explorer is part of the original designer series that were introduced back in NAMM 2020. The series includes the Epiphone Firebird Vintage Sunburst, the Epiphone Explorer Ebony and the Epiphone Flying V Ebony. I'm gonna show you those two. The Explorer is inspired by the rare 1958 Classic and powered by Epiphone ProBucker with CTS electronics. It is also part of the Inspired by Gibson collection that recreates the ultra-rare classics from the 1958. It is safe to assume that there were not a lot of high-gain amps and metal music back in the late 50s. With that in mind, the ProBuckers are going after period correct sound. You gotta appreciate those crazy shapes, the Explorer and the V, which is also part of the Inspired by Gibson collection and has the ProBuckers in it. Imagine seeing those two shapes back in the late 50s. It's like seeing a Lamborghini Miura in the late 60s, just mind-blowing. What's even crazier is they're still relevant today. The Explorer shape inspired so many thrash and metal musicians like James Hetfield from Metallica. Which reminds me that it would be super cool if Epiphone were to reissue the 84 Explorer with the 3-way switch near the knobs. These are reasonably priced too. You don't have to change the pickups if you want to achieve a metal tone as I demonstrated with the V. You need a decent high gain amp and you're there. You have the cool addition of the Grover tuners and the CTS spots, which are all part of the Inspired by Gibson specs. It would be super cool if Epiphone introduced those in red and white as well, and I wonder why haven't they done so. It's been like 2 years since 2020 NAMM. If, however, you want a more modern sounding and looking Explorer, there are a couple of more options. The modern spec Prophecy series featured the Jerry Cantrell Les Paul Custom, the Prophecy SG, the Flying V, the Les Paul, all of them come with different finishes, and of course the Prophecy Extura Purple Tiger, which is a gorgeous finish. I'm gonna review it in the black aged gloss with the Fishman pickups, and this is one of the cheapest guitars that you can buy with Fishman pickups. The Prophecy Explorer comes with 24 frets and a different body shape. It's pretty much a modern metal machine. If you're on the more traditional side of things, you go with the Explorer Ebony, modeled after the 58 original. Let's go over the specs. We have a mahogany body with the Explorer shape. Then we got the slim taper mahogany neck with a set neck construction. 24.75 inch scale length, 12 inch radius and 22 medium jumbo frets. I'm pretty sure that's not rosewood, looks good, but let's double check. If you look at the specs of the Explorer, you're not gonna see the fingerboard material. It says mahogany for the neck, but if we switch to the V, look at this, neck material mahogany, slim taper C profile, scale length, and then we have fingerboard material Indian laurel, and I can guarantee it's the same. Then there are these nice and soft ProBucker 2 and 3 pickups, Grover Mini 18:1 ratio tuners, and the Epiphone Locktone bridge and tailpiece. Oh boy, I did not expect these cavities to be so messy. We have a QR code here though, and I've seen those in the Epiphone / Les Pauls as well. These show the serial number, the model, and all sorts of good information. I've tried gently removing it to show you the long neck tenon, but they sprayed some finish on top of it and it becomes brittle. You cannot remove it. I'm not sure what the red numbers mean, something in production. I'll check out the V and confirm it. We have the routing for the pickup, we have the long neck tenon underneath this sticker as I told you, and there's seems to be some sort of routing. Let me give you a closer look. You see it here? Why is this routing here? I don't get why these are necessary. They have the top routing under the pickguard. Why are these here? Are they using the Explorer body for some sort of different model that has the routing on the back? I guess I'll figure it out in time, like the weird routing situation the LTD Eclipses had. This is what the ProBucker 2 looks like, designed by ESP logo etched, and you have the sticker which reads PB2NHBN42. PB2 stands for ProBucker 2, NHB stands for nickel humbucker, N stands for neck. 4 and 2 probably indicates the conductor cables. More of the same at the bridge, PB3, ProBucker 3, nickel humbucker, bridge 4-2. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Looking at the substantial soldering job, I think these start as open pickups and get the nickel caps later on. This probably means that you can easily remove the covers. The pickup rings are flat and slanted, short screws in the front, long screws in the back. Yeah, these measure just as soft as they feel. The bridge measures at 8.28. The neck measures at 7.84. This is the Burstbucker 2. 8.28 simply will not do for the thrash metal my friend wants to play, so we're gonna put in the bridge the EMG 81 and make this a classic combination with the EMG 60 at the neck like James Hetfield used in the 80s. I'm gonna give you a look at the cavities for the cables and the 3-way switch, and we have a regular Epiphone 3-way switch. I was expecting it an L-shaped one, but the cavity for the 3-way switch is deep enough so it fits a regular 3-way switch, which is neat because you might wanna place a better one in there. If you're thinking about converting to active pickups, you're probably wondering if the 9V battery will fit in the front, and it will not, as you can see. Even near the 3-way switch when there is more place, I wouldn't put it in there. There is enough space in the back though. Stick around for the end of the video to see how it fits. This is the Epiphone Lock-Tone locking bridge, and I've seen it on a couple of guitars. The Goth Les Paul and the Explorer, the Slash Signature, Epiphone on the bottom. Individual saddles held in place by a single spring. These bridges are pretty sweet, especially for the money. I've used one to intonate in drop B and it held its own. The tailpiece is lock-tone as well. It locks in place using these. These are pretty neat, by the way, when you're restringing a guitar and you don't want to lose the setup. The Epiphone logo on the bottom side. Just your typical black speed knobs that you see on a lot of Gibson guitars. You have volume, volume, tone. Epiphone almost fooled me that this is a rosewood fingerboard, but it is indeed an Indian laurel, and I admit it looks good. The fret edges are fine too, side dot inlays, plastic. And upon touching, I feel that the side of the fingerboard is finished with the polyurethane finish that is used throughout the neck as well. Here's something interesting for the more eagle-eyed of you. Look at the dark stripe going the entire length of the fingerboard. Did you see it in the intro? You didn't, because it's not the same guitar. But more on that a little bit later on. The nut is roughly 43mm wide or 1.68 inch. The 12th fret is at 53mm or 2.08 inches. Thickness at the first fret 19.5mm or 0.76 inches. The thickness at the 12th fret is 22.5mm or 0.88 inch. The radius is 305mm, 12 inches, and the scale length is 24.75 inches. Epiphone are calling this a slim taper profile neck with a C shape. Almost on the edge of U shape, but oh well. The nut is not listed in the specs of the Explorer, but we can get that from the V description as well. Here it is, GraphTech New Bone. Epiphone are calling this adjustable truss rod. It is adjusted by a 4mm Allen wrench, and the cover looks like this. No inscription, white on the bottom, 3 screws. It features the iconic inspired by Gibson Explorer headstock, the nickel Grover tuners, and this gorgeous pearloid Epiphone logo. The back is pretty simple, gloss black, no cutaways on it. The electronics feature these CTS 500K pots, which are part of the inspired by Gibson electronics. 2 volume pots and 1 tone with a capacitor underneath it, and this is some sort of a quick connect system. I haven't seen it before. This allows you to easily swap the pickups without having to solder like the pots. It's probably the same system in the V, we'll see when I review it. Here is a better look of the tone pot and the capacitor. And here is the output jack. All of this will be removed to make way for the EMG Quick Connect system. This is the motherboard. I'm glad I will have the chance to show you how all of this fits in the tiny cavity of the Explorer. These are the pots. We have to fit all three of them and the motherboard and the 9-volt battery as well. I was not sure if it's gonna fit. This is the cover for the electronics, shielding on the back, gloss in the front side. Conveniently placed strap button instead of here near the neck joint. You can use a Les Paul strap with your Explorer. Mahogany neck with a set neck construction, slim C-shaped, no volute near the headstock of course, and the headstock features a couple of things, starting with the stickers, the handcrafted in China sticker and the inspection QC. The serial reads 2110, which is 2021 October, and 15 is the code for the factory Qingdao, China. Those growers are a perfect fit for the Explorer. Enough about the specs, it's time to hear those ProBucker 2 and 3 original pickups. This is the Epiphone Explorer with the glorious EMG 8160 set already in it, and I'm really curious to see how the electronics fit in the back. That actually fits pretty nice and snug. There's enough space for the motherboard and the battery. I'm gonna move the battery out of the way so you see how the pots fit. These are smaller than the CTS, so it's safe to say that the EMGs fit, and I've already seen that the Fishmans fit in the Goth Explorer that I reviewed. Now, I've wanted to do a comparison between the original ProBuckers and the EMG set, but lightning struck twice. First, my Diezel VH4 trusty amp had a problem with the tube and I had to bring it to a tech, and I had to use my backup Diezel Hagen amp, which meant that the comparison was no longer relevant. The second strike of the lightning was when I deleted my entire footage of the demos. That included the intro, the demos, the close-up shots and everything, so that the guitar you see in front of you in the intros and here in the outro and in the demos is not the same that I disassembled. The upside is that I learned to back up my footage and I got to try two of those Epiphone Explorers. The factory setup was bad on both of those, but the overall quality was okay. The EMG pickups felt great in it as well, so if you wanna buy the Explorer to make it into a metal machine, go on and do it, you're gonna love it. Next up, I'm gonna review that V.